What's good, model manglers? Today, I have a very special video prepared for you. This is the first manga log of the new year of 2026. What I read in January. I was about to say December. That would have been really bad. I got the months mixed up and everything. Yeah, and we're already starting off with a banger. This is probably one of the best months of manga I've ever had in my entire life. I'm going to be so honest. I read so many good things this month. It was so hard ranking this stuff when I was reading it and, looking back and stuff. Now, obviously, there's been a tradition on the channel. The way I do my manga logs is first thing I talk about is the worst. Last thing I talk about is the best. But I'm just going to say it now. If your thing was like the third, there was a couple things here this month. First off, let me just say, I read 62 volumes this month. I used to make fun of people who used to read 70 volumes this month, and I was pretty close. So I read a lot this month. 60 is not normal for me. Usually around 30 is. But if something is like third or fourth or fifth on the list, I still liked it. I still enjoyed it. Okay? So if your favorite manga of all time, I talk about it third, doesn't mean I disliked it. This was honestly just the best month of manga I've ever had. It was just incredible. Actually incredible. And the first thing I wanted to talk about was something I actually didn't like. So I know I just had that entire speech about basically liking everything. This one I didn't. It's In the Twilight of Our Adolescence. It is a one-shot. It actually isn't really a one-shot. It's mostly... I believe it's like this is the full story, and then there's like a little side story about a different character in this section. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of liked the side story of the one shot a little bit more than the actual one shot itself, like the actual main story. It's okay. What I remember, I don't really remember this much, but what I remember is it's about like this boy who like listens to this radio show, and the radio show, and there's this other boy who also likes the radio show, and they're like kind of complete opposites, but they like each other, and they both listen, or I don't remember if they both listen to the same radio show, but they listen to like music and stuff. They listen to like the same music, and he gets made fun of for being gay, and then they like accept their differences or whatever, and then they continue to like each other, whatever. That's basically the main plot of this. It's just so boring. Honestly, it is just really, really boring. It's really basic. It's just not telling anything new. The story is just so like bare bones and like by the book. There's the main character who doesn't really realize he's gay until he meets the other boy, and the other boy is a bit of a different guy who's like a little bit on the outskirts, and then there's this girl who likes the main boy, but there's this other thing, and it's just so, like, I was reading it, and I was like, oh, I wonder what this character's going to say. Oh, they said that? Okay, I wonder what this character's going to say. Yeah, they said that exact thing I thought they were going to say. Makes sense. Okay, I wonder what this character's going to say. And I wasn't engaged at all. It was, like, the least engaging manga I've ever read. This was probably, like, a 4 out of 10 for me. The side story after, honestly, wasn't too bad. It's about this girl who, like, gets this jacket. She, like, wants to, like, be pretty, or she wants to like seem interesting to this guy who like likes fashion, and so she wants to like fashion, and she buys this jacket, and the jacket is like there's a ghost attached to it, and the ghost like is trying to like give her confidence, and it has a nice little, it's like a sweet little ending to it. And that one's one that I actually like somewhat enjoyed. Oh my god, I'm already losing my voice. We actually might be fucked. But after that, nothing else in this manga really like had me entertained at all. All right, next, we have a manga that is significantly better, but still not that great, and it's actually 2 volumes. It is More Than a Married Couple, but not lovers. Is it? No, it's just but not lovers. Volumes 1 and 2. It's a cute little romance. It's about like these two people. There's like in this school, they have like this thing where at like senior year, you have to do this thing where you like marry someone so you can like simulate real life and what it's like to be married to someone, and you get a grade based on how well you do. And it's it's a bit of a dumb concept. It creates some cute little scenarios for our 2 main characters, though I will say these are probably 2 of the most insufferable main characters I've ever read. Not her, she's not as bad, she's just like completely boring, but our main character is like, he just kind of sucks. He's your basic like MC that's like into anime, that's like, you know, otaku or whatever, and he just has no redeeming qualities to himself at all. And basically their main plan, like, he gets paired up with this one girl, but this one girl who's our main love interest likes another guy and he likes another girl, and so originally they're going to try to get each other with their other partner, but oh, plot twist, the two people that they like are also married in like their little classmate marriage thing, and that plot point was a little bit more fun. That fact, but I kind of wish they just delved into it a little bit more, where they kind of abandoned the idea of trying to set each other up with the other person, like, so much. They just abandon it like fully, and they just do the romance thing, and it gets to a point where like they've dead ass kissed, they've dead ass almost had sex, they're actually this close to having sex, and she's still like, oh, I don't know who I have feelings for, or why can't he just tell me that he likes me? You guys, he literally deadass almost put his dick into your pussy. Like, what do you mean? Does he like me or not? And then the dude, is like, oh my God, who am I gonna pick? This childhood friend who it seems like she has no interest in me at all, or this girl that I basically almost had sex with, and we've told the audience so many fucking times that I am extremely attracted to her personality, physically, full fucking 9 yards, but oh my God, what am I gonna fucking do, bro? And it's just so like, insufferable is not the right word, because I'm not getting angry while reading this, but this is like, I'm just like, yeah, yeah, and it just got boring after a while, especially getting into volume 2, where you really start to feel the chapters blending together and everything just starts to feel the same over and over and over and over again. It gets exhausting to read. But I'm glad I read those first 2 volumes, and I might continue it because it's a cute little series. It's cute. Like, the two main characters, I'm not gonna pretend, even though I don't really like the characters themselves, their chemistry is good. Like, their chemistry isn't bad at all. So, and it's not like it was an awful manga by any means. Again, none of these were really that bad. In the Twilight of Our Adolescence wasn't bad. It was just boring. It was like a 4 out of 10. It wasn't like a 0 or anything. Or like a 3 or a 2 or whatever. Next, Made to Skate. This is a one-shot. I actually learned this like kind of a short while ago, but this manga is actually based off of something that like got popular on Twitter or whatever, and then the author was drawing Maid skating, and it kind of blew up, so they decided to just make a manga of it. And I think that's really cool. Yeah, this was a good one-shot. I didn't really have any problems with it. The characters are fun. The idea is charming. It doesn't really get... I mean, it definitely works. If this was like a 10-volume series, like, this would get old really, really quick. But because it's a one-shot, they kind of stretch the premise as much as it can, and it doesn't really overstay its welcome, in my opinion. There are some fun little bits in here. The art is pretty good. I will say that I'm trying to find a good example, but the paneling was surprisingly great. Like, the way characters move and stuff looks really, really cool in motion. And it was pretty surprising, like, because most of the time the manga looks like this, where it's just blocks and shit, you know, like what a basic manga looks like. But every now and then when characters are skating, they just try something different for the paneling, and it looks pretty cool. I'm not finding an example. Maybe I'm thinking of I'm thinking of a different manga. Never mind. Forget that positive at all. I'm thinking of a completely different manga. The paneling's still fine though. Yeah, Made to Skate was good though. I had a fun time. Again, that was literally the 3rd manga I mentioned. We have so many more, and I said that was pretty good. Like, that's like a 6 out of 10, like a mid 6. Like, that's still good. All right, next we have a manga, Beast Complex. I don't really got much to talk about it. Volume 4. This is very good. A lot of the stories are great. We get another Legoshi Haru story. You know, I'm never gonna complain when those happen. There's a lot of good stories in here that certain themes are explored that I didn't think could be explored with animal creatures, yet they are. Like, I remember this one story about a lizard who just finds this penguin in like a hot climate, so the penguin might die. So, and he's like a beer addict, like he's an alcoholic. And he just like clears out his entire fridge. He clears out all his beer and he just lets the penguin stay in his fridge. And so the new friendship he has with the penguin allows him to like better his life. And it's just a really like cute little story that I didn't think the author would ever have any interest in exploring. And it's a lot of fun. It really is. And the ending story, really, really good too, which is, the Legoshi story. Obviously, not a lot of these hit the same. Some stories are better than others. Like, there's this one story, flipping past it just reminded me of it, where a mice, like, runs into a snake nurse, and the mice wants the snake nurse to, like, kill him. And it's a bit of a weird story I didn't really get. But the volume was still great. I still had a really fun time with it. All right, next we have the first series that wasn't just one volume. Or I guess not the first one, because More Than a Married Couple was not one volume. But we have, sorry, I almost grabbed more volumes than I did. 4 volumes of Yu Yu Hakusho, volumes 4, 5, 6, and 7. I do think, I'm kind of not infamous. I mean, my channel isn't that big, but like, I'm kind of infamous for saying that the first volume of Yu Yu Hakusho I think is fantastic, and then volumes 2 and 3 kind of ruin it. And so if I had to make like a scale of the quality of the series, it would be volume 1 up here, like up here, volume 2, volume 3, volume 4, and then like volume 5 and volume 6, volume 7. So it's not at volume 1 level yet, but it is getting a lot better. Volume 4, I don't think was that great. They like go, well, first they finished like their little tournament arc to see who will train under Old Lady or whatever. Yusuke wins. It's a fine training arc. You can definitely see where, what's his name? Togashi, that's his name. Togashi gets the idea for a lot of like aspects in Hunter x Hunter. Like they basically go through the Hunter exams. Then there's this arc where they go through like this castle to save this girl who has like tears in her eyes or like her tears, or I don't remember which one was first. I think the one that was, it was like cockroaches into people, and like this dude was like making people like evil and shit, and so Yusuke and the gang had to like go fight him, and they faced the 4 kings or whatever. And then the next arc is the arc where they go and they fight fucking, there's this dude who like imprisoned this girl because when she cries, diamonds or like a very like expensive crystal falls out of her eyes. Like not tears, or maybe they are tears, but then they crystallize and they're very, very expensive. So they like torture and shit to make her cry. And the Yusuke and the gang, they go fight him. They meet this dude who can basically like become really buff in an instant. And then they get entered into a tournament by him. And then the tournament stuff, I actually really, really enjoyed. That's where it's starting to get a lot better for me. Because the tournament is a lot of fun. Like the first group they face is a lot of fun. The character designs are really fun. I was honestly kind of surprised how quickly the author got me into like the antagonist of the first fight, because the first fight is like 5 chapters. Like it's super, super short, but the characters are really, really fun, and we get to see some cool, interesting character dynamics. And I know this is like detailed as like one of the best tournament arcs ever, or like the best tournament arc ever. I don't know if it'll get to that level for me, but right now I'm having fun with it. And then the next fight they have is like, wait. Oh shit. You know what's crazy? I don't think I finished this volume. Oh no, I did. Oh shit, this is bad. No, I finished this volume. Okay, I'm chilling. All right, I was a bit messed up because I didn't think I finished the volume, but I did. That was a side story I did not read. But yeah, and then they face this another team that I'm like in the middle of, where they fight these guys who like a dude like their master died, and then some guy was like, hey, I can save your master if you guys let me experiment on you. And then he did, and then antics ensue. But yeah, you can definitely see where the influence comes from a lot of like Hunter x Hunter stuff, where like how this influenced a lot of like manga like Hunter x Hunter. and you know, the different ideas that Togashi is playing with. But overall, it was very good. It wasn't anything better than a lot of this other stuff, but it was still very good. All right, next we have a romance manga that is slowly getting better and better for me, and that is Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You, Volume 6. And honestly, that's really just because the two characters are finally, like, really showing romantic interest with each other, especially at the end. I think the manga really benefited from having the two characters like actually become friends without romantic tension, and then the romantic tension is being added in. Volume 5 was a lot like that. Volume 5 had a lot of like these, like, you know, very tense scenes, and Volume 6 just expands on that, does a good job. The characters are still great. It was still a lot of fun. I had a fun time. And after that, we have another romance manga. I would say these two manga are on the same level, but this is more of like a gag manga, not really romance. It's The 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You. I'm gonna be honest, I read this pretty early into the month, so I can't really remember whether. Oh, I remember. Yeah. So we get some fun bits in here. We get some good, you know, jokes or whatever. But the main point in this volume is we get an actual serious arc with Shizuka, one of the girlfriends. We get like an actual serious moment of her with her mother, and you know, with Rintaro, her boyfriend, obviously. And it's really good. It's a really good scene. It's developed very, very well. You know, like, it was sad. It was well written. The ending was really, really good. I mean, I'm just looking at it now where her and her mother are talking and she's not saying anything about her using like the text-to-speech thing. And it's just really good. I really enjoy when this manga decides to be serious with its characters. Obviously, Hakari got her little arc in the beginning. Karane got her little mini arc with the old tsundere potion or whatever. And then Shizuka has hers. I've read up to where we're at in like online. I've read online. So like I'm up to date with the manga. And honestly, Nano or AI or whatever her name is, her arc is probably the best. It was really, really good. But this one was still like very solid. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. And they introduced the baddest girl into the entire cast. Actually, the most attractive woman in the entire cast. All right, next, we have the manga that I was talking about having the good paneling. And that is The Long Summer of August 31st, Volumes 2 and the Volumes 3. This manga is one of the most creative romance mangas I've ever read. The only one I've read that is more creative is probably Veil, which, I mean, obviously, because it's like barely a manga. It's like, it delves into like 5 different mediums at one point. But yeah, The Long Summer of August 31st is such a creative romance manga, and it really stretches like the idea of a time loop so goddamn well. Obviously, the romance is still good. Like, there are some very cute scenes. Like, there's this one scene where the main dude is like this. He's like one of, you know, your basic shy protagonist where he really only has interest for one girl, and he's like very like kind of timid or shy or, you know, closed off to himself, but he's pretty obviously romantically interested in the main girl. And there's this one moment where, you know, he's considered ugly in the universe, but he takes off his glasses, and then a bunch of girls start hitting on him, and then she wears this like outfit to like show that she's his girlfriend, and like it's this whole thing. But it's a little, you know, cute scene and stuff. Like, the romance is good. I'm not here to downplay the romance, but what really like makes this manga so good for me is how the time loop aspect is expanded upon. Like, there's this part where, well, one, they always, like, they set rules to the time loop, and the author always delivers on those rules. So there are some moments where they'll be talking, and then it'll hit 12 o'clock, and then they get teleported right back. And then the author goes, okay, so how can I work that in romantically? How can I make that create more drama for the main characters? And it's done so well. Like, there's this one part where they're trying to help this girl, like, make a manga, and then the ending is so good. The paneling is fantastic. Like, there's so many moments where you can just tell a character's feelings and emotions just by the way the manga is paneled. Like, there's this one scene where the main character, like the main dude, and then the girl they're trying to help the manga with are talking, and their speech bubbles are covering up her, and then we get like a this is gonna sound sus, but we get like a back shot of it, and we see them talking, and we see her in the middle, and the shadow is like darked out, and you can just feel like the loneliness coming from her without anything being spoken. And it's just like, it's so creatively done. It's just so well done. And I feel like a lot of other manga don't really like take into account those like little moments, man. I really, maybe they do, and maybe I'm just overgassing it, but at the time when I read it, it was fantastic. Yeah, if you want to read a really, really good romance manga, and honestly, just a really good manga in general. It's not really the greatest romance manga, but just a great manga in general. The Long Summer of August 31st should be on your list. This was fantastic, in my opinion. Really, really good. All right, next, we have, God, we're not even close to halfway done. This is embarrassing for me. Cosmos, volumes 1 and 2. This was a weird manga for me. I think a lot of times when two characters are talking in this manga, the dialogue... hold on. Let me just tell the plot. Basically, the plot is this dude knows this guy, and he, like, can smell lies. So if someone lies to him, he can, like, sniff that shit out and be like, oh shit, that person's lying. And because of that, he hasn't really made a lot of friends throughout his life because, I mean, obviously, you know, even white lies he can smell. So if he's like, oh, I don't have to explain why he doesn't have friends. Okay, he just doesn't have friends. And one day, just out of like convenience and out of like being nice, he goes to this person's house to this girl like doesn't know where her boyfriend is, so they go to his apartment to like see where he is, and they realize he's an alien. And he meets this other girl, and this other girl is like a like detective kind of thing, but really what she is she's like a fucking tax person. I forgot the fucking term for it. And really what he was trying to do, the alien, the main boyfriend, the reason why he's off the grid is he's trying to escape from taxes, like property tax and shit. So their job is to fucking beat his ass up because he's not paying his taxes. And it's kind of weird because it's a very like generic, like it's very like appearance wise is a very generic Shonen Jump. It's not in Shonen Jump, but it's a very like shonen manga where it's just, okay, there are ghouls and goblins, and main character has to defeat ghouls and goblins, and he has a friend who has like a power who's part ghoul and goblin, and it's like a very like that kind of sort of thing. But surprisingly, it has a lot of social commentary about like immigration and immigration and like how why you need to pay money to become a citizen, and like how money is used to create life and shit, and what it means to be a parent. And there are so many times where it'll just be, oh, goofy Shonen Jump shit, it's goofy shonen shit, and then it'll become like a horror manga randomly, or it'll just make you cry randomly, and it'll become either terrifying or sad or make you fucking pissed or just make you go crazy. And our main characters work for this fucking alien insurance company, and there are like different levels to it. So like if you're a level 3 alien who can go to Earth and will, you have to pay this amount of shit. And it's just so confusing to read because the art style and the writing are so generic. They really are. But the actual plot is so interesting and so well read, like so well written. It's crazy. And then the ending of volume 2 was insane. I'm not going to spoil it here. I spoiled a couple of these manga. I'm not going to spoil it here. The ending of volume 2 was like, I was surprised a manga like this could get that amount of emotion out of me. And it's not to shit on this manga or like shit on this author being like, oh, keep being a 6 out of 10. No. it was just that good. Like, it started off so low for me. The first chapter, really not that great. And it just kept exceeding and exceeding and exceeding and exceeding expectations. Really, it did. God, such a treat, you know? Like, just such a treat. All right, next, I have a manga that is pretty popular. A lot of people really like it. There's Gachiakura Volume 5 and Volume 6. This is her backstory. We get her backstory in both of these volumes. It's a great backstory. It's very, like, artistically fucking, like, how do I say it? Not independent. That's not the word I'm looking for. But it's, like, it's very artistically, like, unique. Where they do this thing where they get, like, they do the girl's backstory, and the girl got, like, fucking, you know, messed up as a kid. I'm not going to say the actual thing, but, like, she got messed up. And they do it. They draw the scene of her getting messed up in, like, a fucking style a 5-year-old would draw it in. And it's just, like, heartbreaking to look at. Like, it really is. And you, like, it's, like, that backstory, it's really good at showing you, like, why she thinks the way that she thinks and what were the moments that led her to behave the way she behaves now. And it's not like her characters is random. She actually does, like, she's important to, like, the main plot or whatever. The fights are also pretty good too. You know, main character gets some good moments. The ending of volume, what was it, 6? Yeah, the ending of volume 6 kind of leaves off on a bit of a cliffhanger. So obviously I'm going to have to buy volumes like 7 and 8 too. You know, just finish off this little arc that we're in as well. Yeah, it's just a really great manga. It's just always solid when I read Gachiakura. The art is always so incredible. The character designs are always sick. The writing is always fun. And yeah, a backstory like this got a lot of emotion out of me. And it was just really, really good. Like, really. Like, I was honestly pretty impressed by how good the backstory was. Can you believe we're not even close to halfway done? And I'm saying, like extremely positive reviews like this. This was the greatest month of manga I've ever read. Actually. All right, next, Blue Lock, Episode Nagi, Volume 6. Yeah, this match, just incredible. We get the ending of the 3-on-3, I think it is, or a 4. Is it a 4-on-4 or 3x3? Oh, it's the 4v4. Yeah, it's the 4v4. Or I don't remember if we got the ending of it. Oh, no, we didn't get the ending of it. Never mind. But we got most of the match. The match is fantastic. Yeah, I mean, look, what can I say? It's incredible. There's so many things the author is doing, like, theme-wise, that is always so creative. It's always, like, challenging and rebuilding and challenging and rebuilding and contextualizing its own, like, messages and shit. And there's just no other manga that does it like Blue Lock. I really... There aren't many stories that challenge its own messaging and rebuild it and challenge and rebuild and expand upon it and contextualize it and just create it to be this well-functioning source of ideas that all interconnects with each other through the different scenes. And Episode Nagi is just adding to that. It just adds to it. Obviously, the fight is still, or the match or whatever, is still incredible. Characters are still incredible. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Really, there's nothing else to say. All right. Next, we have a manga that you guys might be surprised is a bit low, but it was still fantastic. Do not get me wrong, especially because last time I read this manga, I put this shit very, very high. I put it, I think, top 3 of the month. And that is Windbreaker, volumes 15, 16, 17, and 18. This was still fantastic. Do not get me wrong. I do think this manga is, this arc at least is going on for a bit too long. We're giving a lot of these characters that I don't really care about, like, a lot of screen time. I think, like, in the previous volumes, it was a lot more condensed, and it was like every page was something new and different and exciting. But in these volumes, I think it's just, it has a bit too many characters, and it's trying to finish off these character arcs and add new shit for a lot of these characters, and it's just, and the pacing's a bit wonky. I feel like it says the manga is biting off a bit more than it can chew. At this point, it's biting off more than it can chew. Though, the ending, Volume 18, was fucking fantastic. Because we get into this fight with the main character and this villain that was introduced before. And it's so good. The fight is so good. And there's some little details in the fight that are so well done. Like, there's this one moment. So, basically, during the fight, our number one, basically Gojo from JJK. Gojo is fighting number one bad guy. And they're like, I'm going to fight with you on the roof. They fight on the roof, right? And then the main character is fighting bad guy number 2 on the ground. And randomly, while they're fighting, a chair just fucking jumps from the roof to the ground. And I'm like, why the fuck is there a chair here? And then bro just goes, damn, bro, their fight must be insane. And I'm like, oh shit, bro. This shit just got me hyped like so randomly. But yeah, Windbreaker is incredible. Windbreaker is fantastic. I don't need to tell you that. Please just go read Windbreaker. It's really, really good. Yeah. Really good. Okay, next. I don't know how many... Okay, here we go. Perfect. The thing is that while it looks like... I mean, you guys have the timestamps or whatever. You have the fucking time bar or whatever. I do not. It might look like we're not very far into the video, but a lot of these manga that I'm going to talk about, I read a lot of manga of them. So I'm not going to be talking about as many manga, but like count-wise, I'm halfway through, if that makes sense. Let's just jump into it, though. Next, I have One Punch Man, volumes 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Nothing much to say here. One Punch Man has just been increasingly getting better and better and better and better and better and better. Specifically, I just want to talk about this, and then I'll move on to One Punch Man, because I think it sums up my thoughts about the series and how it's been exceeding my expectations. And that's originally, before I ever read One Punch Man, I saw a scene. Someone described to me a scene trying to convince me to read One Punch Man. And the scene went along like this. A character talks to another character, gives this incredible speech, and then says, or I just read that shit in a manga. I don't actually believe that. That was the scene that person described to me. If you're a One Punch Man fan, or if you read One Punch Man before, you know what scene I'm talking about. Then, I went to go read the One Punch Man manga, and I got to that scene. And because of the build-up, because of the way the manga is structured, because of the previous, 13 or 14 volumes that have been written, and what can I expect from this manga, the scene was fantastic. Even with that moment at the end that I hate. Even with the moment at the end that I hate, where a character is giving this incredible speech, and then they basically backtrack the speech, saying oh, I don't really believe that. This is what I read in the manga. I fucking hate that shit, by the way. Marvel movies, sorry, bit of a tangent. Marvel movies do that shit all the fucking time. I hate it. I actually, I despise it. Anytime a character does that shit, oh my god. Just, say meaningful shit. Don't try to play it off as a joke. It pisses me off. But, even with that little moment, first off, the guy I'll just let you know, it was a friend of mine who loves One Punch Man. He just described it like fucking shit. It was really bad description. Excuse me. But, when I actually read the scene, it was fantastic. That scene was fantastic. The dialogue was fantastic. And it makes sense for the characters. It's not like... the character who said it, it's not like I expect grandiose or wisdom dialogue from him. I don't. So it makes sense within his character to think to himself, oh shit, yeah, I did kind of just get that from a manga. But the scene itself, including all of the context within this manga, was fantastic. And honestly, I'm just going to leave it there. One Punch Man is fantastic. It's been great. I just need more of the manga to be in stock, please. And I will go and buy more because I am loving this manga. I really do want to get more of it because it's just that good. It really is. All right, next we have a lot of volumes. Let me grab all of these volumes like this. Okay. We have volume. Let me see if I can get this with one hand. I cannot. Whatever. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 of Eyeshield 21. This entire manga is great. I think it's going on like the Haikyuu route for me. Not the Haikyuu route for me. Like, it's not getting to that level yet. But it is going into like that way where it's like every character is getting its little own character arc and they're all getting solved at the same time. And it just makes everything like build up more and more and more and more. And the villains are great and and everything's great. It's just an incredibly solid manga. But there is one volume, I think it was volume 11, that really like not changed my perspective of the manga, but like made it just really elevated it. And it's a scene. Not a scene, but it's like a specific character moment where a character shaves their head. I know that's crazy, but a character shaves their head and has like a transformation. And honestly, I'm not going to spoil it. That guy might be my favorite character. He might be my favorite character in the entire manga. His character is fantastic, and I cannot wait to face that team. I cannot wait to face that team. I'm so excited. I am so fucking excited for that match. I do have a little bit of a problem. We get into this one match. It's like they face like the Poseidons or some shit. Their entire thing is that like their linemen are really, really tall. And there's this one dude who like became a swimmer and he does like a swimming stance. And the antagonists are good. There's no actual problem with the match, but they really hype it up to be this high stakes match. But I already know they're going to win because they already have two opponents that they have to face. They have an opponent in the final that they don't have to face them, but they at least have an opponent in the semifinals they have to face. So I knew they weren't going to lose to this team that they just introduced. Well, the antagonists were great. The backstories were great. The moments were great. I had a hard time really getting into the match because I knew they were going to win. Anytime there was like, oh shit, I don't know if we're going to win this. We have 1 second on the fucking clock. I was like, no, they're going to win. There's no way. Like, and honestly, props to the author if they did win, but they didn't. So, yeah, there was no way Eyeshield 21 and his squad were going to lose. So it kind of just ruined the match for me. But besides that, everything else was really, really good. I cannot stress, I did a poor job talking about Eyeshield 21. I cannot stress to you how good this manga was. And how good it is. I cannot express to you how good it is. I love Eyeshield 21, and we're so lucky to be in a time where manga is popular and they're actually reprinting shit. All right, next I have a volume 1 that I did not know was going to be this high, just based off the other authors' works, but I read it, and it was a generationally good manga. Volume 1, at least. That is Dragonhead. So I read Huntress not too long ago, I think maybe 3 months ago or something. It was in 2025. And it was not good. It was awful. And in Dragonhead, there are a lot of similarities. Like the main character of Huntress and the main character of Dragonhead are very, very similar. They honestly are kind of the same character. But Dragonhead, the manga, is fantastic. Basically, it's about this random high school that get some kind of, we don't really know what it actually is, but some kind of earthquake or something happens where the train derails in the tunnel, and the dude wakes up, and every other student of his is dead. And he goes to the end of the tunnel, it's fucking blocked off by rubble. Goes to the other end of the tunnel, blocked off by rubble. And his job is to fucking stay alive. And eventually he finds 2 other people. There's this other dude who eventually just goes fucking insane. And there's this other girl who is like kind of the like emotion of the group. She's like kind of the morale of the group. And it is just so interesting to read. These 3 characters go insane in their own ways. Like one dude, like the dude that I talked about, who basically goes insane. He like tries to accept it and like accept the darkness. And our main character is just trying to, like cope with it by just finding other ways to get out. And she's trying to cope with it by trying to like find ways that they can live here longer so that maybe help will arrive. And you're just seeing 3 very, very different but very interesting ways of like coping with the situation that they have, and just seeing the differences of it is so cool. And there are just so many great character moments. Like, you really feel, like, when characters say, oh shit, I miss home or whatever, like, and they get flashbacks to it, they're so real, and you really, like, feel that emotion through the characters. The art is really, really good. When the artist is really good at just creating this sense of, like, darkness in here, like, the lighting is fantastic, where many panels, like, here, I'll give an example, if I can find one. But, like, panels like this, where the light, like, in a panel like this, where it's really good at just creating this sense of mystery in darkness. And even when they go out, and I mean, I'll just spoil it now. They get, at the end of this volume, they get out of the tunnel, and they go into a building. They still have this, like, era of, like, darkness and shit in the volume. And the ending leaves off on such a fucking good note. It's a cliffhanger, but it's such a good note. I cannot wait to pick up and read volume 2. This was fantastic. I loved this first volume. Next, we have this manga that I bought kind of a while ago. Eventually, it finally came into the mail through Amazon, and then a viewer recommended for me to read it. Joada Tia, don't worry, I know who you are. Yeah, it is Welcome to the Ballroom, volumes 1 through 5. It was just fantastic. So many good moments, so many good scenes. We have, like, this one major, like, it's basically a manga about ballroom dancing. It's about this dude who really has, like, nothing going for him. He kind of, like, is, like, kind of just this dude who just really is unsatisfied with his life. And one day he just decides to take up ballroom dancing because the main coach, like, helps him from, like, a bully scene or whatever. Like, he helps him, like, get out of, like, bullies and shit, of getting bullied. And he decides to take it up and falls in love with the sport. It's really interesting because it takes a lot of ideas from, like, other sports manga, like other very classic sports manga, and kind of just changes them or flips them on their head and does a lot of, like, different things with them. The themes are really, really, like, closely connected to ballroom dancing. Like, there's this idea in ballroom dancing that, you know, that they describe, like, the man is supposed to lead, and their idea of, like, being the frame of a flower. So, like, the woman is, like, the flower and the man is, like, the frame. I feel like for some people, when they would read it, it does come off a little bit sexist, but I don't think that's what the manga is going for. I think the manga is really trying to go for this, like, theme of, like, couples, like, fighting it out at the ballroom dance, and then they do this idea of, like, different partners being, like, cheating on your partner, like, cheating, like as a couple. And it is so cool. And they really, like, explore these different ideas of, like, a male's, like, job in a relationship and a woman's job in a relationship, and they relate it to ballroom dancing, and it's just so fucking creative, and the art is imaginably epic, and the writing is fantastic. And oh my god, there was just one scene. So at the beginning, the manga, the main character is so timid, he's so unconfident in himself. He's got nothing going for him, and he's honestly a bit annoying. And at the end of volume 5, there's this girl in his class that basically makes fun of him for ballroom dancing, right? She's like, that fucking sucks, right? And eventually she starts to kind of show interest for ballroom dancing, where, like, she'll follow him to the studio because she wants to see, like, the main coach and her couple. She wants to get, like, her autograph and stuff. And he doesn't really get the vibe on her. He doesn't really understand, like, if she likes it, if she doesn't like it, if she wants to dance, if she doesn't. She's, like, trying to learn how to dance, and then he invites her, but she's like, no, I don't want to dance with you, whatever. And eventually it gets to a point where he basically goes, hey, can you stop disrespecting this thing that I love? And it is such a satisfying moment, because you see him get picked on over and over for this thing that he loves to do, and he finally has the courage to, like, protect it and like, put his love for this sport on a pedestal and say, hey, can you stop shitting on it? Can you stop being an asshole towards me? And it's just such a fantastic scene, and it's just such a great example of character growth. Like, it is such a satisfying scene to read because you could so clearly see him change from page 1 of volume 1 to page 200 of volume 5. You could see such a clear difference, and you just see him get more confident, and it's like, oh my god, man, I haven't felt this way in a manga in a minute, of just seeing a main character grow like this. Honestly, I haven't felt this since like Isagi and Blue Lock. Like early Blue Lock, when he was like getting like that one scene in volume, I don't even remember, maybe volume 2 or 3, where he, like, Nico is like crying and he's like, I don't know what this feeling is, but I fucking love it. I haven't felt that way in such a long time, and Welcome to the Ballroom just gave it to me, man. Just fucking gave it to me. Sorry. Just gave it to me. Just, Okay. All right. Next, I have a volume 1 that I did not expect to be this good. But as a volume 1, I was fucking shocked. It is Immortality and Punishment. I'm not going to go into depth of this just because it came out this month. I actually think you should read it. If you are watching this video right now and you have not picked this up and you are 46 minutes into this video, and I'm assuming you agree with most of the stuff I say, if you're 46 minutes into this video and you trust my opinion, go pick up Immortality and Punishment. This was actually a fantastic volume 1. It's about this dude who basically, well, he's like, he had a hookup, and then after the hookup, the zombie apocalypse happens. And that's all I'm going to say. The art is fantastic. The storytelling's fantastic. The pacing is damn near perfect. Yeah, there's so many other characters that are written in this story that are all so well described. It is fucking terrifying. It is fucking freaky and disgusting, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. All right, next. Okay, hold on. We gotta chill, okay? We actually have to chill. I'm gonna talk about this next volume, okay? Just shh. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. Just listen to what I have to say before you make a judgment. Super Ball Girls Volume 2. Now, shush. I know what you're going to say. Oh my god, it's by the same author as Prison School. How can you like it? First off, it's not by the same author as Prison School. It's by the same author as Blue Lock. How fucking dare you? Second off, this volume was fucking fantastic. I had an entire thing that I was going to talk about it with, but I honestly cannot remember. Okay, this is how I'm going to talk about this manga. Originally, when I first read Volume 1, I had this idea in my head that the manga was trying to expand upon this idea of the dangers of, like, pornography and the dangers of, like, of having the idea that women are like those kind of women in pornography, and the dangers that can be on to young men in specific. I had that idea that what Volume 1 was talking about, and the Blue Lock author has always talked about this, how he's always had like a rebellious attitude to like Japan, or like to just like the Japanese nature. It really, in Blue Lock, it's like there's this very like rebellious tone to Japanese football, and I think that's kind of what this manga is doing, but it's being very rebellious to like otaku culture, while trying to disguise itself as like a hentai manga. And there's this one scene in specific, and Volume 2, by the way, I'm just going to say, Volume 2, I had a fear going to this volume that it was not going to do that, and it was just going to be an ecchi manga. Volume 2 takes that idea and expands it by tenfold. We see a lot of these different men and how they like think about women and how they think about relationships in general, and it's just fucking disgusting. And they're not written there, and they're not drawn to look like heroes or heroic figures or to be some kind of example. They're all like fucking embarrassing. They're embarrassing that like these are like some of these people act this way as humans. And there's this one example that I think is fantastic where this dude is like, they just go to like, they cut to this random dude in high school. And he's like this loser, whatever. And he has this entire speech about how, oh, he hates all the couples in high school. He hates all the lovey-doveyness in high school. He doesn't need any of that. Whatever, he just wants to play Osu and live a normal life, and he doesn't want to do any of that stuff. It's all lame to him. And you can obviously feel the sense of jealousy, right? And then he meets one of the Super Ball girls who are like these like basically blow up doll women who all they want to do is kiss and have sex all day, right? They're not real, basically they're not real women. They're aliens. And his reaction to like meeting this girl is so like, it's kind of terrifying in a way. It's kind of terrifying. And oh my God, there's another scene where this dude is honestly on the brink of fucking like, that has suicide, on the brink of suicide. And you know what brings him back is the temptation of having sex with a pretty girl. That's what saves him. Do you not know how scary that is as a concept? That's a real thing. That's a real thing, man. And this manga explores it so fucking well, man. It's so good at it. Like, there's just another chapter where the main character is like talks about how he had this relationship with this one girl and how they really had nothing in common. They stayed friends, but he bought all this like kind of perverted, like this, like, what's the word? Lingerie. He bought all this lingerie for her because he wanted to do like freaky shit with her. And it's just such a sad thing to read because you could see them, and then all the girls that he lives with, or the girls, the aliens that he lives with, they dress up as, they do the outfits that he was trying to get her to wear, and he goes fucking ballistic, right? And on the surface, it's whatever. It's a fucking horny chapter. But it's just, you see the main character just delve his life into more lust and more lust and more lust, and you see how it affects him, and it's just, and then you see the opposite of it when he becomes more confident and becomes a better person, and he takes on more responsibility, and he becomes nicer, and he becomes more confront with his emotions, and how that actually affects him with real world women. And it's like, it is just fucking incredible. Please, Super Ball Girls, in my opinion, is one of the most slept on manga because every single person who talks about it, I feel like they only talk about it in a negative way where it's just, oh, it's just a manga about fucking dudes having sex with naked women. When, oh my God, I just hit my eye with this volume. Holy shit. But when I read it, and genuinely, when I read it, it is one of the most profound things that I'm reading right now. And I know that it's crazy to say. I actually feel like I'm an insane person with the fucking straitjacket on, talking to the other side of the wall. I promise you with my fucking intangible soul, this shit is profound. And I don't know how to explain it. I really don't. God. Super Ball Girls is just peak, okay? All right, we are almost done, I promise you. Next, I think we have 5 volumes of the series. I'm not going to delve into it too much. You guys probably know why it's good. It's Baki, volumes 4 through 8. I'll just talk about this one scene, I guess, that I really, really liked. There's so many things I liked about this manga, obviously. I mean, I put it above Super Ball Girls. I must have loved it. But there's a scene where Baki is about to go fight against this guy, right? And his entire, like, gimmick is that he is not really a martial artist, but he perfected his body. He's a doctor. He has used the most up-and-coming new technological scientific inventions to make his body as peak performance as it can be. He has the peak body, right? Infinite strength, infinite stamina, infinite everything, right? And before Baki goes into the match, and they don't really have like this rivalry. Before, there was like this kind of sense where the author would try to introduce a reason for them to fight. Like, obviously they're fighting because of the tournament and, like, you know, just because they're part of an underground fighting ring and that's their opponent. But the author always tries to go one step beyond and make like an actual conflict. Whether it's in the match or before the match or after the match, there always tries to be something to connect the characters, right? And that's delved more in, like, into the, like, volume 7 and 8, but whatever. I don't have time to talk about it. And before the match, Baki's getting ready, and this girl comes in, and she's like, "Hey, I need to talk to Baki." He's like, "Hey, what's up?" And a bunch of other people come in, and there's people with, missing eyes, and they're in wheelchairs, and they're missing legs or arms, or they're disinformed, and have scars, and they're like, "Hey, we are the doctor's experiments." So for him to be able to create his perfect body, he needed to, guys, is my eye red? I can't even tell. I don't think it is. He needed to experiment on all of us and perform all these procedures to get it right. And Baki, being the ultimate underdog, just gets enraged in this idea that he used other people for his own, like genuinely used them, and their lives will forever be completely different for his own personal gain, and he just gets enraged by it. That might have been one of my favorite scenes in these volumes that I've read. I don't remember if that was in volume 3 or volume 4. I think it was in volume 3. Wait. Oh yeah. It was in volume 4. It was in volume 4. Okay, so it was in this section. That was probably one of my favorite scenes I read this month. Obviously, there are so many good scenes. The fight with Yashin, and then the ending of that fight is fucking fantastic. And especially the closure of it. The talk Baki has with his mom is so well written. The fucking Yakuza dude, the 16-year-old fucking behemoth is incredible. Like, there's so many good parts of this manga. And this manga is surprisingly, like, well thought out as well. It's not just dudes fighting for the sake of fighting. There's actually like really interesting ideas at play that what's his name, Keisuke Itagaki is playing with, that I was just so like enveloped in. But honestly, I just don't have the energy nor the time to talk about it. See, this is why I'm glad I decided like 2 years ago to do the gimmick, not the gimmick, but to do the thing of mangalogs where I start with the worst thing and I end with the best thing. Because if I didn't, you probably would have thought I liked Super Ball Girls more than Baki. But I didn't. I put Baki out of it because I thought it was better. The energy levels are very different. All right, after that, I feel like it's pretty obvious. This series is always very, very high on my list. Just because of how good it is. Medalist, volumes 10, 11, and 12. Not much to say here. Volume 10, obviously fantastic. We get a lot of stuff for Inori. We get more stuff from her coach. We got a lot of very interesting developments. Volume 12 was fantastic. A lot of it is honestly just about Hikaru. Most of it is honestly just about Hikaru. But that's great. It's great to develop her more as an antagonist, but also as like an actual character. Yeah, I don't got a lot of things to say. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about this. I think Medalist has never had better art ever. And look at this art. Look at this fucking art. Look at that. Look at that art. We're never like. I hate to be like this. The anime is good. The anime looks really good. It's never gonna get on that level. It's never gonna ever look close to how good the manga looks. I'm obsessed with this manga, and yeah, it's fantastic. And by the way, the ending, we're in this. I will say I do have a bit of a problem. We're in this competition that I thought going into it would be a lot more important and be like a lot more special. But our two biggest rivals did the competition and they weren't really focused on very much, and they didn't really have the greatest performances either. So I don't know why we're not focusing on this competition more, because we went to the competition last year and it was the biggest fight. It was the best moment in the entire manga was this competition, this arc. And now we're going to repeat it and we're going to get our revenge. It's like in Haikyuu when, think about it like this way. In Haikyuu, when they face Oikawa for the first time in the actual tournament and they lose, and then they come back and they get their revenge and they actually win. Imagine if it was like that, but it was the second match was half as long. And it was nearly not as important as the first match. It would feel wasted, wouldn't it? So that's the main problem I have with Medalist. But obviously, every other element of this manga is fucking peak. So what am I really going to say? All right, next. I'm going to go through these kind of quick because we're actually on an hour long of this video and I am exhausted. The Darwin Incident, volumes 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. What to talk about? There's nothing really to talk about here. Volume 4 probably has the greatest twist I've ever read a manga, period. That's not true. Bastard probably is a better. One of the top 3 twists I've ever read in manga, period. There's so many great fights. The social fucking, what's the word for it? Social commentary, peak. It's just so weird to read a manga about America, and like it's such an American manga, if that makes sense. I have never read a manga that was like, oh, here are the political problems in Japan. I feel like I don't really read many of those, and maybe I'm just not looking in the right place. I don't read a lot of those, but here it's dead ass just like, here are the political problems in America, and it's insane. It's insane. Honestly, it made me fall in love with the Darwin Incident. It really did. The Darwin Incident is just that good. I'm so excited for the anime. The anime is fantastic. It's been coming out recently. It's been really, really good. I cannot wait for more people to watch it, read it, and then get to the twist. And there's just so many good moments, man. There's just so many good moments. So many good moments. So many good twists. This manga just like has twists for fucking days. And yeah, I have this problem, and I know a lot of people don't agree with me, but when people say something is woke, I think that something being woke can actually be a negative in a story. Not to say like anything that includes diversity ever or is woke, but something can be woke. And I think like a main point of that is when an author or just a creator or just the medium in general tries to enforce a theme that doesn't really work and that kind of sacrifices the story or the characters. Like, let's say a good example of this is like Blue Flag, where I'm going to spoil the Blue Flag ending. Skip like 3 minutes if you don't want to see it. But I know what the Blue Flag ending is because someone told me. But where the ending is the main character and his friend get married. They're gay and they get married. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the entire manga, again, I've only read the first volume, but at least in that first volume especially, the entire manga, there has been this constant conflict with the fact that the main guy who is in love with the main character knows that he's not going to reciprocate the feelings. He's not going to reciprocate feelings. And so to include an ending like that is genuinely awful and sacrifices characters. It sacrifices characters because it makes no sense for characters to make decisions in those ways. And it sacrifices plot and story. That is what I consider to be woke. And I thought, there's a lot of times where I thought the Darwin Incident was going to take that road and it's going to enforce this theme or have a scene that doesn't make sense at all and doesn't really mean anything. But every single time, it surpassed my expectations and then some. And I'm so appreciative of that. I really am. I'm so appreciative of that. Because I don't know. I loved it, man. I just loved it. I loved every moment that I read this manga. And honestly, if I could go back and erase my memory of this manga and read it again, I probably would. I probably would. All right. Next, we have the last 2 volumes of a 4-volume manga that I'm not going to talk about much because I feel like this manga was all the rage. Plus the movie that just came out of the same author. It's Orb on the Movements of the Earth. Read volumes 5 and 6, 7, 8, or just volumes 3 and 4, the last 2 omnibuses. There's a scene in volume 4 where a character is reflecting on their life, reflecting on their daughter, their late daughter, and it might be one of the best scenes I've ever read. I'm not joking. And when I mean one of the best scenes I've ever read, I don't mean top 10 or top 5, because that's really difficult. But a top 50 scene, in my opinion, okay, how many scenes on average does a manga have? I've read probably 300 manga. What? A manga probably has 100 scenes? What, 3,000 scenes in my entire, everything I've read? So, and I'm probably like fucking either lowballing or highballing it. So, what would that be? Actually, that would be like 30,000, I think. No. Yeah, that would be 30,000 scenes. 100 times 300. 30,000 scenes of manga. Top 50, that could be one of the best. So, Orb on the, like, listen. I know top 50 sounds small in comparison. That is insane. To get a top 50 scene out of me, that is insane. And I'm going to be honest, these other manga also have a top 50 scene probably. But that scene, and people who have read the manga know what I'm talking about. That scene where he is reflecting on his late daughter and he's reflecting on everything that has happened to him. And he's reflecting everything he's done wrong in his life. Is one of the greatest scenes I've ever read in my entire life. In manga, in media, in anything. It's top 100, top 50. It's like, so good. It is so good. And I'm like, and when I was reading it, I was so, I was so confused. Not because it was the nature of it was confusing, but the fact that something could be like written like this. In my opinion, if you're someone who reads books and wants to get into manga, or you're just you don't think manga's that good, if you're like one of those people who like that sounds derogatory, but if you're just someone who just thinks that like books are inherently better and more intelligent because you have to, it's a lot harder to write, and maybe manga you just think are picture books or whatever, I would say go read Orb on the Movements of the Earth, especially if you really like philosophy. If you like philosophy, I would say go read Orb on the Movements of the Earth. It will change your mind in a heartbeat. It will change your mind like that. Seriously. God, that scene. I honestly, after this video, I might just go back and reread it. Because it was that good. What a fantastic scene. All right, next. We have, by the way, Orb was top 5. We are on to number 4. I'm pretty sure. That is Blue Lock, volumes 25 and 26. This is the end of the PXG match, I'm pretty sure. Is it the end? I don't remember. No, it is not the end, but it is near the end. Volume 27 will be the end of the Ubers match, not the PXG. Ubers. God, that's so weird to say like PXG, not PSG, and not Juve, and not Manchester City, Manshine City, bro. I mean, Barca and Barca, like the same shit. And then Bastard Munich. It's fucking Bayern Munich, bro. Do we say Bastard Munchen? That just feels so weird. One of the best backstories in the entire manga. Some of the best writing in the entire manga. Yeah. Just fantastic. I probably one of my favorite goals in the entire manga is Baro's goal in this one. Again, same thing I said about episode Nagi. This manga just continues to break down and rebuild and break down and rebuild and break down and rebuild its own philosophy. Honestly, if you're a philosophy guy and you read Orb on the Movements of the Earth, I might give Blue Lock to you next. Because Blue Lock, while it does have a coat of just being a shonen, like, action, just fighty, people scream at each other manga, whatever, it has so much depth in the way that it describes, like, human philosophy. And, yeah. And especially what they're doing in the manga right now. It's honestly, the France match that we're getting might be one of my favorite matches in the entire manga. That we're getting right now in the manga right now. Because the ideologies that the author is presenting and the way characters are speaking, and I'm feeling a feeling of despair I haven't felt in so long with an antagonist. I haven't felt that since maybe like I felt it with PXG and Rin. But besides that, maybe, I don't even know. I honestly, this might be, Hugo might be my favorite antagonist in the entire manga, in Blue Lock. Maybe, well, like, as an antagonist, he's probably my favorite. But, like, obviously I like Baro more. I think Rin maybe is the only one that rivals him and Rin. Because Hugo is Isaki, but just better. He actually feels unbeatable. He feels unbeatable. Sai He felt, I mean, he was incredible. Like, he was so hyped up. He was incredible, especially in the U20 match. He felt like it felt like we could win. There was a despairing feeling. It felt hopeless at times, but I secretly knew we were always going to come back up. We were always going to do better. I know we're going to lose this match, and I don't even know if we're going to be able to win the rematch. If there is a rematch. I can't conceivably think. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about fucking shit. 200 chapters later, I should be talking about these 2 volumes. They were great, though. Again, Baro's probably like my favorite character in the entire manga, and it's his match, so obviously I'm gonna love it. This volume could have been higher, and that's kind of crazy to say because it was top 3, but it could have been higher. But the second half is sadly just it's not that good, but it's not as good. Still 9 out of 10, but it's not a 10 like the first half was. That is The Boxer Volume 12. I'm so sad to put it this low and still being top 3, because the ending of Yu's story, if that was just the ending of the manga, I know it kind of is, because there's like they call it like spin-off. They call it a spin-off, I think. Well, let me check. Thank you for reading The Boxer. Well, let me check. Everyone who supported me. I think they call it a spin-off though, right? Yeah, spin-off episode 1. Okay. So if we just count this as The Boxer Part 1 ending, this was the best ending I've ever read in my entire life. By the way, I have it backwards. This was the best ending I've ever read in my entire life. So easily. I thought Alice in Borderland was, like, had me speechless at the end. It had me, actually speechless. Volume 12 of The Boxer was, I don't even know how to say it. It kind of feels like a manga got brought back. Like, do you know how good a manga has to be for me to think back, okay, when was the first time I ever heard about this manga? It's like when you're in love with someone and you start thinking about the first time you guys met. That's how good this manga is. I've thought about that for maybe 5 manga. This one, and then the 2 other we're going to talk about right now. And then maybe Blue Lock, and then maybe fucking, I don't even know. There might be it. Maybe Real? No, The Horizon, man. No, I really don't. Not The Horizon. The Boxers is better. I think Real was the only other one, yeah. Really only 5. And those next 2 are the ones I'm going to talk about. Haikyuu, volumes 19, 20, and 21. 3-in-1, I'm rereading this manga. It's my favorite manga of all time. I was always going to put it high. Probably one of the best climaxes I've ever read. I'm going to repeat what I said last time I read one of these volumes. I'm going to repeat the exact same thing. It is crazy to read a match. Read a match, or read a sports match, and think to yourself, wow, there is not a single element, not a single page, not a single panel, not a single word, syllable, letter that I would, not a single brush stroke that I would change about this match. Not a single thing. And it is crazy to think that, and then also have the exact same thought that is not contradictory, and that thought being, this match isn't even top 5. But that's with the Aoba Josai match. Shiro Torizawa is top 5. That's why it's higher. And I honestly was so close to putting it number 1. I was really, really close. But Haikyuu is just that fucking good. I think I might have cried 6 times reading these 3 volumes. 6 times. And they're the most random ass times. Random. Straight up random. So, if you want to read a generational manga, read Haikyuu. Because that's just how it goes. And number 1, a manga that is slowly rising itself up into my top ranks as some of my favorite manga of all time. Oh my god, man. Just looking back at these panels. Full Night Volume 7. This was I can't say it because it's been so long since I've read Haikyuu. And The Boxer still has one more volume. And The Boxer has still so many good volumes. And there's so many manga that I've read. This might be the best volume I've ever read. Ever. And I know I say that like every other month. I'm like, oh, this is the new best volume I've ever read. I fucking mean it this time. I really do. Last time, it was fucking Full Night Volume 4. Because Full Night Volume 4 was that good. Full Night Volume 7, as a whole, as a volume from start to finish, it's just in one setting. The entire volume is in one setting, and we get this one character's backstory, and it's fucking good, man. And the writing, the dialogue is so good, and the art is fantastic, and the storytelling is fantastic, and we meet Dr. Kudai. We meet him, and he is perfect. He's a perfect line of being this like antagonist who is so evil and corrupted, while also being this so like intelligent and impressive genius. And I felt so many things reading this volume. And not one of those emotions ever. Not a single panel, not a single fucking line, syllable, letter, brushstroke, whatever repetition you want me to say. Not a single time was it boredom or dislike or confusion or questions or any other thought or emotion that was outside of this volume. It didn't pop into my head. All I was thinking while reading this was Full Night. And I feel like every time I read more manga, I feel like I get a new appreciation for it. I like not even just manga, but just stories in general. I feel like I get a new appreciation for them. Because I start to realize more and more how fantastic they can be. And Full Night just fucking doubled it and then squared it. And then fucking doubled it and then squared it and then did the 10 times over. I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't even know what to say. And I think back all the time about the when I first bought that first volume. I remember, you know what's crazy? Is I bought this first volume at a point where I was like, I was like buying first volumes like when series were coming out every month. I was buying manga every month. And I bought volumes 1, 2, and I think volumes 1 and 2 at the same time. And I remember when the volume came out, I was like, this looks kind of cool. I remember people hyping it up, whatever. And I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it when it first came out. I didn't. And then I remember one time I was trying to buy an order because there were some volumes that got in stock and I needed my order to be above like $75 to have free shipping. And I was like, fuck it. I'll put volumes 1 and 2 into cart because I've heard good things. And I can't believe I'm finding one of my favorite manga of all time. I found it because I just took a chance randomly. God, this so good. It's actually that good. I cannot wait for that anime to come out. I can't wait. I really hope the right studio comes by and they do the anime justice or the manga justice because it is a generational story and it deserves to be told the right way. Yeah, that's going to be the end of the video though. I doubt a lot of you are still here, but if you are, thank you for listening to my rant about just random manga. Yeah, it was a lot of fun reading these though. This was a fantastic month. Hopefully February is just as good though. I really doubt it. You know, I'll just reveal it right now. This is the first volume I read for February. Very good. That's all I'm going to say. But after that, February, we're going to just keep pushing forward. Keep pushing forward. We're going to read as much manga as we can. I'm trying to complete as much of my collection as I can. Just really shoring down that TBR. And that's the plan for the future. I don't know what next video is going to be. Honestly, I'm exhausted. I'm going to go eat. Thank you for watching.